Words here. I'm still working on this RPG game. I've made a small change to it at this point, uh, to the inventory. I hit G, I get the item. Look at my inventory, now it says sword. And that's not just that I've changed the name of that. I've not just gone in and changed what it says there. I've actually gone in and created a file that stores all of the information for items, specifically the generic information for each item. And then it also reads that information when I go to create an item, so I can tell it what kind of item I have. Like there's a generic ID for each item type, basically. So I can say at this point 0 is the only item I've got. There's only one, and it's 0, and it's called sword. And not only is it called sword, that name is actually stored in that file along with some other variables that are not yet actually used at all, but they're there. It reads that information, including those variables, stores that into a list for that specific item. This is the non-generic version. This is the actual unique item in the game. And then when I go to look at my inventory, it actually reads from there to get the name of the item instead of just calling it item like it did before. So that's interesting. I can press enter. I've switched use and drop. At this point, use drops, whatever, something else I need to fix, but from here, I know I need to go ahead and flip those properly, and then also probably work a little bit more on the inventory system, or maybe some other UI elements, I think, and get that to where it maybe actually draws the UI correctly for certain other things, and maybe also displays information about an item. There will be some interesting code there. That's something I'll have to think about. When I don't necessarily know going into it what information I have on the item. I just have a bunch of numbers. So I'll have to actually figure out a way to like parse that and have the game go through and say, okay, I know that this is this kind of item, and that therefore this number means this number means this, and this number means this, and then render that correctly so that the player understands that information. Which could be actually in a way kind of complicated. Not really, but it'll be a lot of code to get it to, that'll be something I'll have to store in the game's code so that it knows, like, it can look at a specific, like a generic item code, and the item ID for, like, this guy, we have the sword ID. It needs to look at that, say, okay, well, this first number that says 1, and this next number that says 6, that's like the minimum damage and the maximum damage of that item, for instance. I'm just making that up off the top of my head. And it would then have to display that information correctly when the player looks at it, as opposed to, like, say, thinking it's, as opposed to showing those numbers raw, or having the character or telling the character that those are the amounts that it heals because it thinks it's a potion. So it needs to be able to tell the difference between those things and then also display that information correctly. Which also means making this menu bigger. Well, not that one, but go up there and grab it. I need to have it, when I hit enter on an item, it needs to not just show that, but maybe actually just give the information, covering up the screen a little more, and actually it's like saying, this is the information for this item, maybe having a picture, if there were such a thing, which there wouldn't be yet at all, because I can't draw. And then, so I guess I could just download, like, a picture of a sword or something, I don't know. I might do something like that. But in any case, for now, though, it'll say what the item is, what the information is of it, maybe a description, all the stats, and then it'll say, like, use, drop, cancel, and all that. Real quick, one more change here. Hit inventory, empty inventory. I can close that. Hit G, get the item. Hit I, has my sword. Hit enter, and now it actually displays some information. Actually, the weight is blank because I apparently didn't actually put a weight in, but whatever. But it gives me the damage range and, in theory, the weight, and I can move through this item descriptions menu, hit drop, and move, and the item is dropped. So that works. I did it. Hooray! Thanks for watching. You should like this if you in any way enjoyed it or want to see more of this. And in fact, you should definitely subscribe because I'm going to continue to work on this and maybe some other things. We can see where everything goes. I think it could be super interesting from here because now we're going to have the real items in the game. We're going to be able to maybe equip a weapon and then use it on one of these enemies for once and actually like walk over there. They've been following me around all goddamn day. I need to whack one of these guys in the head with a sword, and we're gonna be able to do that very soon. So, thanks for watching again, and see you next time.